A reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became bright as light. Suddenly, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. And then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will set up 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, the Beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they raised their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." This is the gospel, the good news. Thanks be to God. Do you all wish or ever wish that you could just have a snapshot or take a snapshot of a certain moment so that you could just go back to it? We were cleaning some stuff out and we came across an old computer, and so Kate and I were looking through it. Actually, Kate was, and then she's like, "Hey, look at this," but because I wasn't cleaning anything out, let's be honest. So she got this old computer and she was looking through it, and there were all these old photographs from when my kids were little. And Kate and I started talking about these photographs and the memories they brought up, and it was just really fun, because then we shared stories with the kids about what was going on in the photograph as much as we could remember. And it actually reminded us of some of the things that had happened in our lives, of places we'd been, things that we've done together, how our kids grew, the things that they loved. One of my favorite pictures that we found was of our son Max sitting, looking dejected. He had taken fencing lessons for some odd reason. He had taken fencing lessons, and I guess they had tournaments, and he hadn't done very well. So he has all this fencing gear on in his hand, in his head and his hand. And it was this really sweet little moment that I had forgotten. I had forgotten sort of that time of driving them to fencing lessons. It was beautiful, this little snapshot, this memory. His sister, my daughter Rosie, is on a big trip in Argentina, and she's taking all of these pictures, these snapshots. And what's interesting is two things are interesting. One, my daughter is a horrible photographer. But she is trying to share something with us, and it's just not really fully capturing the moment, right? So these snapshots, these times that we want to capture, these moments are important because they help us tell the story. They help us tell the story of who we were, but also I think in some ways help tell the story of where we're hoping to go. But the snapshot, it just doesn't capture it, right? It's never quite the same. The picture of this beautiful mountainscape in Argentina doesn't mean that much to me, and I'm sure I'm only getting, and I know I'm only getting, a piece of it. Peter wants to capture this moment. He wants to have a snapshot to go back to. He wants this moment captured, and he says, "I'll build a tent for you and for Moses and for Elijah, Jesus. This is a moment I want to hang on to. I want to have a picture of for the rest of my life. I want to hang on to it. And in fact, in some ways, I want to stay here. I want to stay here in this moment at this time. But like with looking at the pictures of my past and of my children, they have gotten older. They're not cute anymore. And they're not fun. They're fun, they're just more argumentative. It's good to have that snapshot. It's good to have those memories. But I can't keep my kids there. I can't keep them in that moment. I can't keep them in that first birthday picture. I can't keep them in that vacation that we took to the beach. I can't keep them there. I can share the story of that moment. We can remember that time. And it's important to remember that time. But I can't keep them. I can't hold on to them. I can't hold life back. I can't hold the changes back that come no matter what is going on. Jesus reminds Peter of this. Actually, it's not even Jesus who reminds Peter of this. It's the cloud. It's God coming down in this lighted cloud and saying, "This is my Son, my beloved, with whom I am well pleased." Capturing a moment before. Capturing the time that Jesus is baptized. A snapshot of Jesus' life coming back, reminding us, reminding the disciples, reminding Jesus of who he is. But God doesn't allow Peter, James, and John, or Jesus, or us to stay up there on that mountaintop. God says, listen to him. This moment is important, but this moment is leading to something else. Is leading toward Jerusalem, leading toward the crucifixion, leading toward the resurrection, leading toward that new life that I, God, have promised you. So listen to him. We can't stay up here on the mountaintop. It's a snapshot. It's a memory to help you, to keep you going, to keep your story going. It's a snapshot. It's a memory to help you know that I am with you when you're down in the valley of life, when things are hard, when you're uncertain. This mountaintop moment, this transfiguration, this time where you heard my voice and know my presence, is to remind you so that you can step out into the future, into the uncertainty, into the chaos, and be renewed, and be made new, and be given new life. This is my Son, my beloved, with whom I am well pleased. We remember that. And then we are told to listen to him. And that's important. That's important for us to hear today. Because in the midst of all of this that's going on here, there are a lot of voices, a lot of noise, a lot of people talking. And it's not just in here. It's out in the world. So much noise. It's so hard to hear. It's so hard to hear God's voice in the midst of it all. We play this game in youth group. It's kind of dangerous, but that's what makes youth group games fun. We create an area and we put like chairs and different obstacles in the way. It becomes a little obstacle course. And we pair the kids up. And we have one pair. One person in every pair gets blindfolded, right? and then there's another person. So they're paired up, one is blindfolded. The first time through, we invite one pair, where the blindfolded person goes through the obstacle course simply by listening to their partner tell them where to go. So it would sound something like, take 2 steps forward, turn right, turn left, And that's how the game is played, through this obstacle course. But what ends up happening is in the circle, what we do is we have all of the kids go at the same time. So let's say you have 20 kids, you have 10 kids trying to go through this obstacle course blindfolded while listening to their partner tell them what to do. It is hilarious. They run into each other. They don't hear what's being told to them by their partner all the time. They run into chairs. I heard of somebody with adults who would put mouse traps out. We don't do that. We ask them to be very careful. But what we realize when we do that is how hard it is to listen. How hard it is sometimes to hear that one voice that's trying to lead us, in our lives. Over the next while, over the next season of the life of this congregation, we are being invited to try to stop and really listen. To really stop and try to listen to Jesus, to his call, to his voice, to where he is leading us and the new life he has in store for us. But it takes patience and it takes practice. It takes patience and it takes practice. It takes stopping, slowing down, and listening. Listening for God's voice and listening to one another. Listening to one another in love. Listening to one another with patience. Listening to one another with care. Because it's in the listening to one another, in the stories that we share, that the Spirit of God is at work. Friends, we all have snapshots of this church. Memories. Memories of good times, memories of bad times, memories of better times, memories of worse times. Those stories are important. But those stories, those memories, those snapshots, that's not where God is leading us. With the disciples on the mountain at Transfiguration, we are being invited to remember, to allow those snapshots, those memories to sustain us, to build us up. But sustain us and build us up so that we can step out into the future, into the valley of the really real lives that we live, into the valley of the community that we live in. Step out into this world made new. Step out into this world ready to listen to Jesus and ready to serve our neighbors. God says to us, "This is my beloved. With him I am well pleased." Listen. Listen to him.